a lot of the time. Like a lot of when the chips are down, we saw Arisen on the Akali, we saw Chuli on the Zed, and it pretty much won all the time for them. Like it was like almost a 100% win rate draft for them. They have come out big in the first game of this best of 7, but remember, they need to win this because these are some very, very big power picks for this team. We are in, obviously, all-round ban pick, so they will never get access to these champions again unless we go all the way to the end into a best of 7. So this is essentially a game where they're throwing down the gauntlet and saying, Max, we're going to win this game. This is our opening game. We're going to win it because we've picked a very comfortable composition for ourselves.
I mean, they did very similar yesterday against Chakaimiko. A lot of big characters early on, and then unfortunately when their big picks were gone, they were like, well, now Chakaimiko doing a comeback 2 games in a row, and they struggled pretty heavily. So hopefully they can keep the steam roll going. Some deep vision coming on through from the Janna, making sure that they know that the fight is indeed kicking off on the Raptors, so they can try and predict a little bit that jungle rotation. In the bot lane, though, the matchup is going to be Alistar and Jhin, which is a combo that I appreciate a lot, even though he doesn't have the new sexy skin on the event, so I'm very unfortunate there. And up against Smart, and also Strong Hands is going to be there also with the Janna and the Kai'Sa, which once again is going to be some great healing potential. Janna does pretty damn good into an Alistar with that tornado. So the game is going to be off to a good start. While Vi try to go for sneaky low invade into the jungle to maybe snatch away the red, but unfortunately nothing shall come from it.
She's going to just use the vision cone to just essentially try and scout out any vision, clear it from the river, make sure that she's got a relatively safe approach for when the Rift Scuttler spawns. What I find interesting, though, is that Vi is on the same side of the map as Lee Sin. She's essentially throwing the gauntlet down to the Lee Sin to say, I am happy to fight you for the River Scuttler, which is very interesting. You would not expect a Vi to try and go for this kind of early River Scuttler contest, but it looks like Nexplay want nothing. Sorry, Omega want nothing to do with this. They're just backing off. They're saying, okay, we're fine. We know that the Akali is relatively strong at level 3. We're not going to try and take this fight. We're just going to go trade for the other River Scuttler.
I think the other River Scuttler is actually going to be a lot more impactful. Reason why is you're going to be also having that Drake coming up very, very soon, so you want to try and keep information on that one. Rotation towards the bottom side. Lee Sin knows you can't really kick that gank off, unfortunately, so not going to fully commit just yet. But also, if you guys are not too familiar with this, these teams already have some history when it comes down to the Wildrift Asia Brawl. They already played against each other in their second match of the tournament, and it was won, not dominantly, it was pretty damn close, but Omega Esports took this series 2-1 and did send Nexplay in the loser bracket right away. So far, they know, but this is a Nexplay. They come in prepared. They already played against their team. They know their playstyle. They know what they like to do, and they know their weaknesses also. So they are definitely going to try and potentially peek down on those weaknesses and try and get ahead if possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as to allude to your River Scuttler point, I think at this stage of the game, you just want to make sure you get one of them. Like getting double scuttled as a jungle, especially as a Lee Sin, that would feel really bad. So I think Lee Sin just said, look, let's not take any risks in our first game of the series. Let's not get into a crazy run it down, coin flip level 3 brawl around the River Scuttler. I'm just going to go to the other side of the map and take the other one where we have a bit of prio in the bot lane. So they essentially used the prio that they had in the bot lane. You know, that Janna Kai'Sa generally tends to do okay into the Alistar gym. And so they just basically said, okay, let's go and grab the River Scuttler. But as you said, the Drake is spawning in the next minute. It is Infernal. This is a Drake that you generally tend to see teams put high priority on each contest, even in the early game. So you're expecting teams to sort of coordinate their back timings around this dragon. I am expecting a little bit of a fiesta around this dragon if we're going to have a fight break out, because it is a very important dragon, especially dragons to give you some power in the late game. This is an engage, though.
Oh, Hextech Ultimatum under the tower. They're just going to go. She finds a pick on a 1v2. Going to now focus down to the Camille. Camille gets a good extra bit of damage, but man, that was an aggressive dive. But still, Horizon, OP as he is, comes out on top and picks up the very first blood of the game.
That was just an interesting dive. I felt very forced to me, especially the Hextech Ultimatum under the turret. I mean, Akali had just used her smoke screen. If she uses a smoke screen, you know it's going to be difficult for you to essentially find those executing blows on her. So very well played by Arisen, but honestly overforced. The Infernal Drake has now spawned as well.
Oh, the bot's going to be a big fight. Janna going to go for the ultimate by a lot of time. Lee Sin ready to join the fight. Up and in 3v3, currently 3v4 as Zed joins the mix. Good rotation from Chully to try and negate the fight. And now they're ready to go, but though Drake is on the board, and he said it here, Scandal, that's going to be the one they put a lot of focus onto if they can early on. Lee Sin ready to go for the dive and maybe smite it away. And unfortunately, he's not going to commit to it. Oh my god, he goes for it, but no, Vi to secure it with her own smite, and that's going to be Lee Sin out of commission, eliminated almost instantly, but though they're going for the extra dive. Curtain call from the team will come on through again. Some nice extra damage. The burst comes on through, but replay from the Fiora allows them to tank it up, and now they're all going down one by one. Omega Esports struggling, and Nexplay taking their revenge.
That was a really, really big win for Nexplay in the early game as well, because Infernal Drake is going to help you scale up. Let's take a look back at that replay. You'll notice Lee Sin essentially tries to go for the steal, and I don't blame him, because this is a really important dragon to try and contest for your team. And at this point forward, essentially you're just out of position. You've got the Fiora heal going through, just giving her a lot of extra sustain, and once Akali joins the fight, you've already taken way too much damage. You lost a member early on, so you essentially forced it into a 4 versus 5. You were never really going to come out of that on top, but going 2 for 3 is not so bad if you're in Omega's position, but losing the Infernal Drake is definitely a bit of a pain.
Oh, gank once again in the top side, man. Gank after gank. Nexplay, they're looking for the fight, though. The stun fire stars can be available, trying to make his way in the tower. Does heal off of the honey fruit, but unfortunately he's going to be singled out. And Vi should be able to pick that one up with also the Lee Sin. Lee Sin's going to be getting that one for himself. Horizon, though, unfortunately taking a lot of damage. Great response coming on through from the side of Omega Esports. Also going to be trying to single out the Vi, and she's going to be in a world of trouble. Eliminated, picked up by the Camille. And man, the response, like, this is a very even game. Good play coming on through from both sides, but at the end, Omega Esports come out on top.
I mean, that was I think the dive was fine, by the way. I think the dive was completely fine, but it just felt over-forced. Yeah. Like, they had no vision. They had very little vision of the enemy red side jungle. They didn't pay attention to who was showing and who wasn't showing on the map. And it just felt like it was an over-forced dive onto a Camille who's very good at negotiating dives in the first place. Going in for the Rift Herald again, this is just complete fiesta for neutral objectives right now.
And Disaster's in behind so much time that the smite comes up through from Lee Sin, but 2 frags picked up. With it, worth it. I'm not too sure about that one. Now it's going to be Kaiser. 3 frags for that one. That's a downfall, but Nexplay played that good. Disaster bought just so much valuable time, and then team just came on through 3 kills. Super worth it as they go for the tower.
It's really difficult in these games because, like, you really feel like at some point someone's going to take their foot off the pedal. I mean, these guys are running it down for the neutral objectives, just going into a full-on brawl every time a neutral objective becomes available. And right now it's Nexplay who are coming out on top. I don't even think Zed has been joining these fights. It looks like Zed has just been casually splitting in the side lane right now. Again, they're going to want to transition into a 1-3-1 eventually. They've got a strong solo laner. They've got a 3-1-3 Akali, a 2-1-2 Zed. This is the perfect position. You've got the gold and the right champions. Your solo laners are in a strong position to be able to 1v1 the majority of the other champions in the game. But these 5v5 Fiesta brawls, they are just something else. I was not expecting, especially wasn't expecting Nexplay to sort of go for them so aggressively, especially the Rift Herald when they picked up that first turret of the game already. But nonetheless, Nexplay do come out on top. They are really just utilizing the fact that these scrappy skirmishes favor the likes of their Akali. You know, she wants to get into the middle of a scrappy skirmish, just, you know, at least pick off members who are a little bit out of position and blow them up. And that's fine. That is fine for Nexplay. They are happy to take that gold. They're happy to get the free wins in that case. And they put themselves in a strong position because all they're going to do now is put their solo laners in separate lanes, search for 1v1s, draw attention away from the neutral objectives like the Drake, and hopefully Coalesce can capitalize on that.
I do have to say that I've been reading the Trovo chat. A lot of people think they're like asking what's the score. The game just started. This is game number 1. It's 0-0. You guys have not missed anything, so you're good to go. But the Drake is going to be on the menu. It's going to be an Ocean Drake up in now 10 seconds. A little more vision going to be already put up there for Omega Esports, making sure it's not going to be contested. But really, I got to say, it feels good because Nexplay are a team that really heavily relies on their rotation in the matches they won so far throughout the entire tournament. It feels good to see a team here that has a response, though. Going to be potentially going for the Herald. Yeah, the Herald is indeed going to be popped into the mid lane. They want to try and get that first half. They can with the dive coming on through. The root coming on through from Jin does not connect. Nice ride push coming on from the Fiora. No, great knockup. A lot of CC coming on through, and that's going to be unfortunate for the sort of Nexplay. They can't find it as Akali trying to move away. The Zonia comes on through. Janna, great ultimate to single out this Vi. She's got the GA. She will get rezzed up. Can she survive, though? I'm not too sure about that one. She's going to be 1v4'd instantly, and she's taken an insane amount of damage, but actually potentially makes it out. No, she doesn't. The flash comes out. And that's going to be 1 and 2 out. Vi and Akali out of commission entirely. The Fiora will follow down. They're also down low, but they are down. Why are they staying so long next to the tower? What's happening for their side? And a curtain call to close it off. He goes for the hit. It doesn't connect, but doesn't matter. Blue frags coming through. And Nexplay dominates in the mid lane.
I don't even know what to analyze, Max. It's just a complete fiesta. I mean, they're just like, okay, meet you in mid at dawn. Throw everything at each other and just see who comes out on top. It doesn't really feel like there's a calculated gamble here. It's just like, okay, we think that we're stronger. No, wait, we think that we're stronger. And just go for the full-on team fight. I mean, it was obviously a good execute by Fiora at the very beginning to take out, I think they took out the Akali very early on, but then they just fought under tower for ages. We have another Fiesta Max.
Another one, and this is going to be second Drake in the way of Nexplay. They're off to a really good start. Lee Sin once again going to get battered and bullied out of this game entirely. And now it's time to chase. Camille got a lot of mobility. She can just slip away of that engagement entirely, while Zed is really heavily committing to this one. Surely a little bit over Nova extend. We'll be able to slip away, but 2 Drakes in a row, and they're going straight to the Baron because they picked up 2 frags. I mean, why not? They're so far ahead, they can afford to do it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's always a little risky. I mean, the Baron does deal a significant amount of damage. There is still a Camille alive. There is still a Kai'Sa. Like, if they get into the pit in the correct way, you could be spelling doom. You can see JLC just sitting on the sidelines here. No, they're not going to get there quick enough, and that's a huge amount of damage coming out from Julie on the Zed.
Oh, the shield comes on through on stronger. He almost died to the ignite of Zed there, but that's not going to be happening. Surely not going to be bringing too much on the table in terms of fragging power, but that's okay. Still, in terms of gold lead, 43k up to 38k. That's going to be a good old 5k up to almost 6k gold lead going so far in favor of Nexplay. And the tower game is also going their way so far. But the game is, I've got to say, Nexplay are starting to run away with the lead, but I'm seeing also smart on this Camille that keeps on using the ultimate onto Horizon when he still hasn't used the smoke screen. Like, after he uses that, you just can't damage him. Camille should try and really focus another target, especially this Jhin. This so far in such a good spot. He's 5-0. You got to cancel him out instantly.
I mean, I guess he's using the ultimate to try and limit the mobility of the Akali, because Akali would not be able to dash out of that ultimate, so maybe he's using it in a more defensive way to protect the Kai'Sa, and I do understand it from that perspective, but you are right. I think this Akali is too far ahead for you to be able to do that. It feels very difficult for you to just kind of straight up say, he goes on to the Jhin here, but I still don't think this is a great engage.
Good headbutt, trying to cancel out the ultimate of the Camille. She's going to get rooted down by the Jhin, and Jhin on the backline, not taking any damage. He's just having a fun time overall in this game. And the extra dive coming out. There are 3 players still remaining for the side of Omega Esports. Can they defend the tower? They're going to give it a shot. Oh, but oh my god, the nice engage from this Alistar picks up the damage. The frags are flying by in the ways of Nexplay. An extra few frags, and this Jhin is just disrupting the entire composition of Omega Esports. And now they're knocking on their door, knocking on the base, and taking down the Nexus tower.
Yeah, they're going to go an easy inhib tower here. That's a lot of damage coming out from the Lee Sin, but no one will drop inhib at this stage in the game. Nexplay are absolutely in the driving seat. Big item spikes picked up as well. The Akali has got the Rabadon's death cap completed. Interesting that she didn't upgrade her nullifying orb into anything more, just wanted to go for the flat magic penetration, but this Akali is super scary. Zed has picked up the majority of his lethality and the Last Whisper. Even though there isn't a huge amount of armor for him to face down, he's still going to be shredding through that natural armor resistance that he's also facing. I've noticed that Disaster does this on Alistar a lot. Even if he's facing any kind of AP, he will always prioritize the Bramble Vest, just to prevent and limit some of the healing, which is obviously going to be great versus the Blade of the Ruin King from the Kai'Sa. It's going to be great for the versus the Death Stance of the Fiora. So he loves to do this. Just pick up that Bramble Vest. And this isn't a good tip for anyone that's a support. And if your team's not buying any Grievous Wounds, just pick up a Bramble Vest. If they attack you, they're going to have a Grievous Wounds applied to them, and that's going to limit their healing overall. So this is something that I think Disaster does a lot in his games, and it works out well for him. You can now see that they've entered into a kind of a 1-4 split. Chuli's not overextending here, though. He's not going towards that second tier turret. I genuinely think he could have. The only reason I guess he's backed is to pick up that teleport, I believe. So he backed to pick up the teleport and actually wants to come join the fight for a 5v5. I don't blame them from opting out of a split push in this scenario, because I genuinely do believe they are just strictly stronger in a 5v5 at this point in time. They are absolutely crushing in the 5v5, so I suppose there is no real reason to risk a split push if you can actually just force the team fights and win anyway.
Yeah, especially when you got like a Camille on the other side, that's going to make matters a little bit worse if you get caught out. You can't really escape, so I do respect that decision to not go for it, but I'm also going to be seeing a Drake on the menu once again. It's going to be a Cloud Drake coming on through, but Zed maybe trying to single out this Fiora, but no, not going to be taking that fight once again, being really, really respectful when it comes down to it, and the Baron is also going to be up on the Summoner's Rift extremely soon. So that's going to be something to keep in mind. Also, so far, the goal lead is still going at all-time high for Nexplay. They are not giving up. They are not doing any mistakes whatsoever. And Omega Esports, so if they want to do a comeback, it is going to be mainly down to being able to single out one of those targets, but they can't do so as Vi. And also the Jhin going to be now taking down this Drake, and there's no information, unfortunately, for the other side, and they just can't contest it.
Chuli here is going to back out. He's just a little shy of catching Lee Sin with his sweeper in that brush right now. But again, he's drawing attention to that side lane. Chuli does this a lot, especially when he plays the Zed. draws attention to him so that the other team can cross map onto something like the Baron or can cross map onto something like the Dragon. So you saw him in the top lane. He drew the Lee Sin and the Fiora up there. They cross mapped onto the Dragon. You can see him now heading towards the bot lane. They're going to do the same thing. They're going to group up for the Baron, and hopefully Chuli is attempting to draw attention to himself so that his team. Well, actually, let's just fight.
Oh, there you go. The Vi engages, and unfortunately, no GA for Lee Sin. He's going to be out instantaneously, and the fight just barely kicked off. They also proc the GA on top of the Kai, so she's going to be a casualty. Curtain call to try and finish off the fight for the Jhin. And even though they put so many resources, this is a pretty big dive, though. They're taking quite a significant amount of damage, but unfortunately, there's no response for Omega Esports. They already cracked on open the base earlier in the mid lane, and they're just waiting for the wave, and that should be all said and done. This should be indeed game number 1 for Nexplay. They don't even need the wave. They just find the extra frag on top of the Kaiser, and they will try and close it off. Question mark? No, that's going to be Alistar taking his time, but the wave is just behind. It's just a matter of time before Nexplay take the series 1-0.
Honestly, Max, usually I have quite a lot to break down in a game. Usually I will sit back and try and specifically talk about moments in the game that were impactful. But this was a run it down for first Drake because it was Infernal Drake game, and the winner of that fight ended up dominating. It was just basically 2 very early team fights that were really, again, as I said in draft, neither of these comps are really designed for team fights. Neither of these comps have got like insane tools for team fights. But we talked about the fact that the Nexplay had a slightly better edge when it came to playing the team fights correctly, because they had 2 assassins that could dive the backline, eliminate the Kai'Sa, eliminate the Janna, whatever you want to do. And it was a little harder for Omega to get their Fiora and their Camille into the backline and have the same kind of effect on the Jhin. So those first 2 team fights that opened up, you saw that in action. Arisen and Chuli were just much more impactful at getting to the backline and actually having impact compared to the Fiora and the Camille. And those 2 team fights unfortunately snowballed the game. It was essentially as simple as that. You had those 2 team fights just after the 7-minute mark, or just before.